This live stream brought to you by the Excelsior Citizen and these generous sponsors. Our Excelsior Springs Hospital, where better care is right in your backyard. The Simmons Sales Team, your hometown realtors.
Whether we're talking about our dedication to preventing and restoring power outages, our pursuit of safety, or providing the best member experience possible, we are relentless in serving our communities.
Find out how you can advertise with Excelsior Springs' #1 community resource. Visit ExcelsiorCitizen.com today.
Super easy to sign like she told me
You're a user specialist.
had to give up all my dignity. I was like, chill. That's a different. Seems sick. You never have to give up.
All right, we are going to get the meeting started. This time I call the meeting to order. I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. First by Tracy, second by Darren. All those in favor? And that passes 6-0. Please note Kaylin is absent this evening. If you will join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming tonight. It's great to see smiling faces ready to go to work. Go back to work, I guess. I can't say go to work because you've been working all summer. Go back to work. All right, first up is the adoption of the consent agenda. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
First by Brett. Second. Second. Second by Darren. All those in favor? I was waiting to see if Kenny fell out of his chair or not. So I did all those in favor. All those opposed? Abstentions? So that passes 5-0-1. Sorry. Kind of lost my train of thought when Kenny was falling out of his chair. I was just hoping Jason had it on live camera. So. All right, next up is our recognition, and Mr. Gilkey.
Thank you. We're going to start with recognition of a couple of our food service kitchens. Cornerstone Elementary, Lewis Elementary, and Excelsior Springs Middle School all received the Food Safety Excellence Award from Clay County Public Health Center. Cornerstone received the Gold Standard Award for 3 or more consecutive years. It was actually their 4th year running. So I'd like to invite Rachel Coe, and Rachel has a few food service employees with her tonight for recognition. Rachel's our food service director, and Rachel, you've got 2 employees with you tonight. Yes. You want to introduce them?
This is Shana Coleman from Cornerstone and Lori Shoemake from Lewis. Shana couldn't be with us from the middle school. Part of this needs to go to the district maintenance team. Anytime that something that the health inspector comes in, or even before they come in, if we have any kind of equipment issues or anything, they're right there. And that really helps with passing our food inspections. So I'd like to acknowledge them too.
That's great. And I want to say, I think a tenet for me and for our district is the people that are in our halls and in our building, that no one plays a small role in the education of our kids, in preparing them to be successful. And so I hope that you all feel that you have a significant and important role in our district. And so just like you mentioned our custodians, from our custodians and our food service staff, we want you all to feel supported and know that we highly appreciate the work that you do. And we know that you are a vital part to making sure that our kids have successful days. And so we're very thankful for the work that you do.
All right, next up is ESSD PBS, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, at this time, I would like to ask members of the Cornerstone, Elkhorn, and Middle School PBS teams to come join me up here at front, please.
So we had 3 schools that earned Tier 1 recognition at our Summer Institute. Swing around. So we'll start with Elkhorn because they're closest to me. So Dr. Harris and Andrea Marsh. Andrea helps to lead the Elkhorn team, and just amazing work happening there at their building in terms of teaching lessons, reinforcing lessons, and then celebrating student success. And so that's something that you just feel it. They start every day with their, kind of affirmation, and they're just really owning it. So anything you want to say about your PBS efforts?
I just think it's become just part of our culture, truly. Yeah. So this year we're going to focus more on Tier 2 supports for students, so we're excited to dive in there and give teachers and students more what they need. Yeah.
And then our Cornerstone team also received the recognition this year, and so we've got Holly De Leon, Principal Jessica Bradbent, Janelle Rebello, and then Ashley Lohman. So they've all come to represent Cornerstone, and same thing, just amazing buy-in from their staff. Anytime you get new staff, it's really important that you are really training and living that lifestyle, and these ladies here are just amazing with really teaching and reinforcing, and still one of the coolest things ever, your little Bitmoji stickers that the kids are just obsessed with them. They make these little sticker books, and kids get to earn the Bitmoji stickers of their teachers. And it was at the Summer Institute, it was everybody wanted to see that at their poster session. So really proud of the work that they're doing too. Ms. Broadbent, do you want to say anything about your team?
Just proud of the opportunities. We kind of moved from stickers this year into providing some connection and opportunities to really get kids connected with other kids and staff across the building. Yeah. So that was fun, and Dr. Harris said, we're moving into Tier 2 support, so we're excited.
And then our middle school also received the recognition. So Dr. Shannon Weesey really leads the charge at their building, and probably the most amazing transformation I've seen in a building from year to year. It just feels so completely different in that space than it used to. So it's positive, it's exciting, it's engaging. Their dens, they created their tiger dens this year, which has really created a sense of community, and you just feel it. And so we've got Leslie Horn is on the team at the middle school too. And Dr. Weesey, you want to say anything about your team?
I was just so happy with how they worked to find homes that make the middle school a smaller, more welcoming place for kids. Because it can be kind of intimidating when you get there. So we're going to keep trying to build those connections, and we're also going to start looking at those Tier 2 supports to help our kids who are struggling. And we're excited to address this in the new year.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your work. Middle school, can I have you stay up here with me? And then we're going to bring up our Missouri school-wide coach is Jody Baker, and school-wide PBS, and then our KCR PDC coach, Chrissy Rice, works with us. Amazing partnerships we are blessed to be a district-wide PBS, which means we get the support of this amazing coach, and she and I are just work so well together, yeah. And then Christy and our other consultants come in and help us too. So Jody wanted to present the middle school with something.
Yeah, so we're just so proud of the work that Excelsior Springs has been doing in all the buildings.
And so all the schools that earn Tier 1 recognition, that is an honor that we present to schools at the state level that means they are implementing PBIS universally for all students with fidelity and consistency, and they're seeing positive outcomes in regards to students. So they're seeing increased attendance, reduced ODRs, which Excelsior Springs has recorded a massive reduction in office discipline referrals over the past 3 years. There is another award that we give at the state level, and it's called the Mary Miller Richter Award. And that's a very exclusive honor that's given to one building, one school, each year. One, across the state of Missouri. And it's the school that we feel like really embraces the spirit and the essence of positive behavior support and has transformed the culture of their building for students and for staff. And so in honor of Excelsior Middle School has won the Mary Miller Richter Award. And so what we're going to do is give you the banner that we had, and I'll just, the theme of Summer Institute and for our whole year last year was thriving together, building connections for teacher well-being and student success. And we just feel like Excelsior Springs Middle School really embodies that thriving together spirit through their dens and the amazing transformation they have made at their school. So we're very proud of them. So congratulations.
Dr. Kaufman, I expect first day of school that you have one of those big things that football players would run through.
Great idea.
Good idea.
Absolutely.
What can go wrong?
One for each bus.
Yeah, we tape it back together, Velcro or something. So everybody gets a chance.
Some water balloons.
Yeah, some water balloons. Let's open it up. Congratulations.
It's great, guys.
All right, next up is our MSBA delegate report. Darren.
I bet we got a great video to watch.
This edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. We begin with a look at how the signing of Senate Bill 68 into law will affect Missouri school districts. The legislation, which takes effect on August 28th, marks a major milestone in Missouri's commitment to school safety. CES's Chief Operating Officer, John McDonald, says that while meeting the requirements of this law may take some work, CES is here to help every step of the way.
We at CES had the opportunity to collaborate on what became Senate Bill 68, and we're incredibly grateful for that opportunity. Our voice was heard, we appreciate that. The voice of school safety professionals across the state was heard. We're pretty excited about where it's going, but we know there's going to be a ton of work ahead for us at the Center for Education Safety, including all of the training that now has to be done. You know, there's a misconception out there that this bill would cost school districts a lot of money. It does not. It takes some time. It'll take some effort, but the effort is worth it, and the time is well spent.
Many districts have already contacted CES asking about what they should purchase to meet the new requirements. John has some simple advice.
What I'm sharing with everybody here is don't buy a thing. You're getting a lot of calls from vendors right now who are telling you that you need to buy their product to be in compliance with Senate Bill 68, and it's just not true. Most of Senate Bill 68 has very little cost to school districts. The cost is in the effort. The cost is in the time to get your team ready to go to be more prepared. It is not a huge monetary cost, and those monetary costs that are in the bill don't come online for a couple of years. So throughout Senate Bill 68, we tried to find ways to enhance foundational aspects of school safety that don't cost a lot of money.
In addition to doubling the number of school safety academies to meet demand, the CES team will be delivering new updates and key training in new ways as well.
We are launching a webinar series, Lunch and Learns. We'll get into specifics about a certain aspect of the bill that's critical for schools to know. It's not just school safety people that should be listening or watching us. Our administrators, even our boards, our superintendents. I understand your time is limited, your time is valuable, but this is a big bill. And you know, I come from a place where I've learned over the course of my career that at the end of the day, in the aftermath of crisis and tragedy, you'll either have to justify what you've done or you'll have to justify what you didn't do.
To learn more about Senate Bill 68 and upcoming safety trainings, visit the MSBA website and watch the weekly for updates. Also, make sure that your safety teams receive the Safety Weekly emails from the CES team. John covered so much important information that we couldn't fit it all into the board report, so visit the MSBA website or the MSBA YouTube channel to see the extended interview with John. CES is also proud to co-sponsor MSBA's AI and Education Symposium Wednesday, October 22nd in conjunction with the MSBA Annual Conference in Kansas City. MSBA's Director of Digital Initiatives, Mark Henderson, says that the event has something for everyone regardless of your AI expertise or experience level.
AI is transforming education right now. Are you prepared to lead the changes in your district? At this one-day event, we'll explore how AI supports learning and how school leaders like you can lead with confidence. We'll kick off with Kim Carr, co-founder and executive director of Digital for Good and I Can Help, a nationally recognized leader in digital wellness and online safety education. Then you'll experience expert sessions led by practicing educators, technology professionals, legal experts, and student voices covering AI implementation in classrooms, cybersecurity, policy development, career readiness, and more.
Registration is open now for the AI and Education Symposium, as well as the MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators and the Missouri Association of School Business Officials. The conference will be held on October 23rd through the 25th in Kansas City. The event will once again feature numerous breakout sessions and workshops, many presented by school leaders from districts throughout the state, the Education Expo, and another great lineup of general session speakers. And it's not too late to register for MSBA's fall regional meetings this September. The topic is Phones and Funds, tackling today's tough school policy and finance issues. Held across all 17 regions, these meetings provide a great opportunity to connect with fellow school leaders, receive important updates, and participate in regional discussions that impact your local district. Visit the MSBA website to register for your region's meeting. That's it for this month. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and we'll see you in September for the next MSBA Board Report.
Any visitors, Lisa? No visitors? Moving on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Blood.
Yes, thank you. But please, the board, I'd just like to share some updates from around the district for the month and from the summer. So capital projects, slide down here. So if you've been around the high school at all, ongoing rain about every 3 days has continued to delay that. They have been working diligently the last week, and they get regular phone calls from both myself and Mr. Berry from maintenance about where they're at and how they're going. I believe they were up there working on it again today. If they were able to get done what they were today and they're able to complete it tomorrow, we should be good to use that entrance at the PAC on Friday. So that's the goal that they were working towards through the weather. If they're not able to, we'll just have to adjust. It shouldn't impact the actual parking, but it may impact where staff can go in. So there's a back entrance in the PAC, which Julie and Xavier are ready to mark when, as staff. They need to go in that way, and then we can also use either the front entrance of the high school or the back gym entrance. So that would be the only delay at this point if they can get that done. It's tracking, I say 60-40 whether we get it done or not, but like everything else in education with kids, we're gonna modify and adjust, and we'll be flexible, and they're gonna show up on Wednesday whether we're ready or not, so we're gonna show up on Friday ready to kick it off. So that's the update on the high school parking lot. PAC curtain is up and it's amazing. If you've ever hung up new curtains at your house, it takes a little while for those things to unwrinkle. Same thing with the 3,000-pound curtain in a PAC. So it looks beautiful, it's an amazing color, but it'll take about a year to get all those wrinkles to hang out, but it still looks great. So appreciate the board's support and Mr. Baker and Xavier and Julia's leadership on getting that picked out and ordered. It looks really good, and it's really highlighting the amazing PAC that we have. Just some back to school reminders. We had our resource fair yesterday. Dr. Everett can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the first 45 minutes we passed out about 200 backpacks.
Yeah, I think our count was about 270.
Yeah.
The amount of kids that
270, so it was amazing. Again, Dr. Everett, Kim Curtis, our ECC staff, we had some elementary staff, I know some of the high school counselors are there. It really is a great effort by our community and some community supporters and vendors. We host that over at the middle school, and it's just a great opportunity for those in our community to be able to get school supplies, backpacks, health supplies, get signed up for our Swope Health Clinic, anything that they may need to start the year or to be successful and healthy throughout the year, along with contacts and things may come up. So it's really a great opportunity for our families and our community and our school. Great partnership, and we're excited to see another successful one of those. If you see Kim Curtis, thank her for the crazy amount of hours and effort that she puts into that and collecting those things. It really is an amazing opportunity. Our new teacher breakfast, just want to remind the board, if you're available, that's tomorrow at 8 a.m., right, Dr. Miller, 8 a.m.?
Correct.
8 a.m. at the Montgomery Event Center. If you're able to attend, that'd be great. We won't make you give any speeches. You can just have a nice warm lunch that Aaron Marks provides. That's incorrect. I won't make you give any speeches. But it's a great opportunity to see some of our new staff. They've hit the ground running the last 2 days. They had a great work session PD today led by Dr. Miller on just classroom management and how to get set up and have a successful first day. So we're excited to get them in the district the last 4 days. And then convocation on Friday. Breakfast is from 7:30 to 8:30, and then we'll transition over to the PAC to do our welcome recognition awards and all the things. And we'll get to see our beautiful new curtain. So just a reminder on those. And then we'll transition in the afternoon to some staff PD that afternoon, and then Monday and Tuesday we have our staff professional development open houses on Monday, and then Wednesday they're coming. So hope you're ready. So the alarms are going to go off early in my house. I don't know about yours. So we're excited to get all the kids and staff and get rolling.
Convocation, we're going to do that as well.
Yeah, yes. Obviously, welcome to attend convocation if you're able to. That would be great to have you there. A couple things that are happening as staff are coming back. So the Summer Academy of Professional Development, just a huge special thanks to our Professional Development Committee, Dr. Miller, our principals and administrators for organizing a high quality week of learning opportunity where staff can come back, kind of a choice-based, go through all kinds of different things that can help their learning, hours that they can collect for Career Ladder for coming in the summer, and just a way to kind of kick off before they officially have to kick off some learning and get ready for the year. And then our new teacher induction started 2 days ago, 4-day new teacher training, just ready to get them in. It's kind of, what I remember 21 years ago now going to my first one, and then I always I explained it to new teachers, you're not supposed to remember everything, we're going to try and get you everything, but if you can remember the people in this room to ask certain questions, that's probably the most important thing. I always told them it's like throwing the noodles against the wall and seeing what sticks, and we're all there to help you pick up what lands on the floor. So there's a lot of learning, but we're excited to have all the new people, and we always thank them for choosing Excelsior Springs. So it's exciting having that energy in our halls. Going down, so we kicked off our learning as an administrative team 2 weeks ago now, guys. So something that I've talked about a lot coming in as new superintendent is the culture and building the culture. We talked a lot as a leadership team and as a district and as a cabinet about building culture. Culture starts with trust, and how you do those two things is we listen, we learn, and we serve, both our students, our staff, and our community. One of the things you always hear when you have roundtables with staff and buildings, you give surveys, well, are they even going to do anything with this? Well, guess what? We are. We're listening, we're learning, and we're serving. So some things that we're doing. The three of the biggest things that we heard from staff through building visits, surveys, Career Ladder, blackout days, communication. The other thing we heard was increased pay. We're going to do the best we can and pay everybody as much as we can. But those other three things, we're being very intentional about how we can adjust those and listen to the feedback that we're getting. So for Career Ladder, thanks to the board for their support on those intentional changes that we've made to Career Ladder over the summer. Based on staff input, the Career Ladder Committee puts in a lot of work, and they're in a very tricky spot where they're a staff member that's also doing it, but they also have to lead that in their building and help keep their colleagues accountable to it and the expectations. So they do a great job of trying to make sure that we're upholding the integrity of Career Ladder while also trying to create opportunities for staff to be able to meet that through things that we're doing that we know best serve kids. So that's one of the changes that we're making. Blackout days. So we kind of have, the process that we use is been a one-time exemption to a blackout day, and those are listed in the employee handbook. And so what we're doing is we're revising the blackout day exemption. Mr. Gilkey's worked really hard this summer on this, just to allow a process that's a more flexible approach that allows us to still monitor our staffing, make sure that we don't have a bunch of people missing the Friday before spring break, trying to be flexible to people's needs as humans, as parents, as family members. It doesn't mean that just because you ask for it off, you always get it off, or that we should be planning cruises whenever, but we are trying to be more flexible and approachable and listen to our staff on these things, and so that'll give them you know, some more flexibility and not feel like, well, they've been here for 1 year and they get one exemption, I've been here for 20 years and I used my exemption 5 years ago. So we're trying to be more flexible with our staff on that, and Mr. Gilkey's putting together a great process to try and monitor that and be responsive to our staff. And then communication's always a big one. So a couple things that we're doing to improve communication throughout the district is we're launching quarterly staff roundtables in each building. So we've done these before in large groups. We're going to do it in a much smaller group, so we've already scheduled those for September. So Cabinet will go around to the buildings and we'll meet with the building leadership teams. That's who we'll meet with September. We'll kind of have here's what's going on in the district, here's some things that may be upcoming, but then we'll also get feedback from them. How did the year start? Are there things that you'd like to see? Are there things that we can continue to adjust? So we can be responsive to them and listen to them, but also share things happening throughout the district and the community with them. So we're excited to be in there and meet with those. And then throughout the years we schedule those, we'll meet with small groups, and then they'll be responsible for sharing that out to their building. And we'll kind of share some themes as a district that we heard from all the buildings. So we're excited to be in there and share those things. And then this year, a big one, we already have our work session planned, but the big thing for us as a district, we'll be revisiting our district strategic plan, which will coincide with our CSIP. And so, you know, we're going to have a much more comprehensive process this time. There'll be multiple opportunities for staff to contribute their ideas and help shape our direction as a district and how to best serve our students and community over the next 5 years. So we're excited about that. It'll be a lot of work for everyone in there, but it may be one of the most important things we do this year to really guide where we want our district to go and what we want Tigers to look like in the next 5 years. So excited about those opportunities, and just wanted to share with you guys that's how you know, we're going to continue to listen and learn and serve our staff and our buildings. Some legal updates or legislative updates. So personal technology devices, the old cell phone bill that you've heard about. So Dr. Hartman and Dr. Kaufman will talk a little bit about how that's being implemented at the buildings. This is legislatively mandated, so there's very little wiggle room for anything in there. So they've done a great job of working with other districts, other administrators, other buildings in the area. I think everyone's not treating it exactly the same, but there's pretty well alignment throughout the secondaries. There's not much change happening in elementary schools anywhere because there was never really phone access to elementary schools before. So that's why you're not hearing a lot of messaging about elementaries. They were never supposed to have them out. A lot of it now is putting the toothpaste back in the toothpaste container for secondaries. So that'll be something that we continue to look at. They have a great plan for it. It'll be something that we hear grumbles from students about, we hear grumbles from parents about. I know something that we've talked about through the cell phones is just acknowledging that you know, there's opportunities within the policy and within the bill that students have access to those in emergencies. I will tell you, having a 13-year-old, what he thinks is an emergency and what I think is an emergency are two different things. So that's going to be part of a teaching moment, not only for teachers and administrators in the buildings, but also for parents and students at home as they get some of those things. And it'll be a learning process for all of us. It's another thing that our teachers and our parents and our staff are going to have to monitor. The good news is legislators took it out of our hands, so it's not us. They're telling us to do it. Now we just get to implement it, and I think at the end of the day, it will be what's best for students. It's just going to be a learning curve for us. So we'll get there, and we've got the right people in place to make that happen. Great news from Dr. Everett Department. So the federal government did release Title II and Title IV funds, so we're excited. They released them, and then they took them back, and they released them, and they told us our allocation.
So no give backs.
No give backs this time. She's locked it in. So I think it's about 100 or 120.
It's about $108,000.
$108,000, and so we had those funds allocated to certain purposes, and then we had to reallocate, and now we're back to being able to use those how we originally intended. So we're excited to get those funds and continue the things that have been successful, such as the PBS that you just heard about, some of those funds. And then you heard through the MSBA report the emphasis in Senate Bill 68 on emergency operations plans. So that'll be a big focus. Mr. Gilkey's already started some of the trainings on that, working with Mr. Kimsey We'll be working with our principals. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I will say there's also some cost that goes into it. He wasn't exactly transparent with all of that, but you have to get some sort of program to be able to track those things. But Mr. Gilkey's on it, and him and Kimsey will have a great plan for us as we work through that and get everything in place to make sure, A, not only that we are meeting the expectations of the bill, but really so we're making sure that our schools continue to stay safe. So we've had emergency operations plan in the past. This needs to be updated. It's always a good thing to revise, and now there's certain things that we have to have in there and certain expectations along that. But you'll hear about that more as Mr. Gilkey and Mr. Kimsey work through it. And that's all I have, Mr. President. Any questions there?
Any questions for all of that?
I had a question on the cell phone, like the Senate Bill 68 with our educators, and it kind of ties into the emergency operations plan, and knowing that we used Raptor, the Raptor system, and we had the apps, and that was a notification, and some staff members had to use their personal devices in order to be notified, and like how does that play in and keep us compliant with the state?
So staff members are not, the legislation does not cover staff members, so they're able to use cell phone technology. That doesn't mean we want our staff members on their phones all the time while they're teaching. That's something that is not changing, right? Like we want them teaching their class, being effective, but they'll still have access to their emergency devices throughout those opportunities. They can still use Raptor to communicate. If they need to call an alert, they can use that. They'll still get alerts on their phones if they go through there. I believe the Raptor system is also on the district provided iPads where they can get them in case the staff member didn't have a cell phone that they wanted to use, so they're able to get those. I know mine goes off in meetings all the time, so whether you like it or not, you're going to hear it either in your pocket or across the room. It doesn't matter if it's on silent, so they still get those alerts, and we'll be able to communicate that way. There may be some transition of what that looks like. We don't know what that'll be yet as we get into it, but they'll still have that access, and that'll still be a tool that we plan to use just to ensure the safety of our buildings. So.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. Next up is discussion action items. First up is approval of co-curricular, extracurricular program evaluation. Mr. Baker.
Distinguished board, fellow stakeholders, thank you for this opportunity for me to present our extracurricular and co-curricular program review for 2024-2025. Sorry, that's a lot of words. So the Excelsior Springs activities are an integral part which complement the secondary curricular program. This program shall provide educational and social experiences for the students and school community that result in a positive learned outcomes, contributing to the development of good citizenship, sportsmanship, and the equitable competition. The goal of our extracurricular program and the mission of the Excelsior Springs School District extracurricular program is to provide opportunities and experiences for all students to develop certain skills. For example, respect to self and others, the ability to take positive risks, appreciation for one's talents and weaknesses, the recognition of the value of physical, academic, and aesthetic pursuits, understanding of teamwork and shared common goals, the realization of the importance of life skills, and the awareness of the diversity in one's own and others' cultural backgrounds. The Excelsior Springs Activities Programs creates an avenue for enrichment, entertainment, and a proud association for parents and community. Through well-directed activities, we strive to enable students to contribute responsibility and ethically within society now and in the future. So when we review kind of what the year has been, we have an opportunity to select excellent, above excellent, average, below average, or poor. Looking at our accomplishments as an extracurricular and co-curricular activities, we selected above average. Now I'm not going to read to you the million amazing accomplishments of our students and staff, but I will highlight a small few. We had several conference champions, girls tennis, speech and debate, boys soccer, and our academic team, along with 3 individual conference champions in track and field. We had 78 athletes or participants receive all conference recognition. At the district level, we have district champions in speech debate, girls basketball, boys soccer. We had some runners up in girls tennis. Boys tennis as an individual, and our baseball program. Our band and choirs received 8 number 1 ratings at the district level and 17 2 ratings at the district level. At the state level, we've had several individuals receive medals or placed as an all-staters, whether that is track and field, tennis, wrestling, speech and debate. Our Tigerettes and our music program had over 30 state qualifiers. The 2 things that I really am proud of our students and staff are we have 1,056 participants in our programs. That is just lists of students. That is not, we don't have 156 or 1,056 participants, individuals, but that's what we have in our rosters, which I think is tremendous, and it says a lot about the importance our students and staff have in our extracurricular and co-curricular activities. And the last part I would like to highlight is our academics. We had all except one team earn an outstanding or distinguished GPA award for maintaining a 3.49 or higher as a team. And boys baseball achieved academic all-state as a team with a team GPA of 3.46, and we had 7 individual academic all-state honors. We're incredibly proud of our accomplishments of our students, coaches, and sponsors. Their commitment to excellence continues to bring pride to our school and community. Now, as we reflect on 2024-2025, we have a lot of great things happening for 25 and 26. We have, actually it says there are 4, and I did this before we added a new band team, but we have 5 new head coaches, all of them that have come from our programs. So we're continuing to see the value in our current members and elevate those when we have the opportunity. Due to Senate Bill 63, now we are allowed to allow homeschool students to participate in our extracurricular and co-curricular activities. That includes virtual students and family-paced education students, which we are very excited to welcome some new Tigers. And then one thing, as I took this position and speaking with our sponsors and head coaches, I thought one thing that we needed to do a little bit better job is focusing on our students' social and emotional well-being, and not saying we didn't. We don't have very good common language across our programs. So this will be year 1 of the Inside Out initiative, which is a program put forth by MSHA and the NFL that focuses on student social, emotional well-being. And it's not one of those things where you guys do this. Most of it, honestly, is my end and my training on the front half for the first almost full year before we get into year 2. So we're really excited to really address the needs of our students so we can be better on and off the field. For this, we asked, part of the conclusions is, do we meet the needs of our students? Our programs teach students the positive values of being part of something bigger than themselves. They learn to share goals, commitments, value hard work and accountability. These skills help them in any avenue they pursue in the future. We offer a wide variety of activities aimed at giving all students opportunities to perform and compete. Some concerns as we move forward, and not only our district, but several other districts, our student specialization. I know a lot of our programs ask a lot of our kids. We have a lot of kids that do things, but the unfortunate side effect of that is some people start to focus on one particular thing at an earlier age now that we're seeing than we haven't had in the past. Especially in our school, at our side, we need multiple sport and activity participants to be competitive. And once again, that is all about growing and educating our students outside the classroom. As we continue to look at the numbers of students participating, we will evaluate that and see if additional staffing is needed. We evaluate possible recommendations brought to the school board in hopes to look at our staffing and our programs compared to other schools in our conference and districts. We will continue to invest in our athletic and activities development programs, working toward future implementation through our secondary schools. We will continue to seek appropriate professional development for our coaches and sponsors through various avenues, including the Inside Out initiative, which I mentioned before. At this time, I would like the board to approve the extracurricular and co-curricular program evaluation as presented.
First by Jill. Second by Darren. Any questions, comments? Hearing that. Oh, go ahead, Brett.
Sorry. Maybe just a comment to start. I mean, I look back at my experience, and I was able to participate in our activities programs here, and it was a great, development in my life, teaching character and other skills, like life skills, more than athletic skills. And now I see my kids in the programs, and I see, an emphasis on, character development, creating, I have sons that are in the program, so creating good fathers and future husbands. And so I would just, express my appreciation for that, and just encourage us to, keep doing the good, things that we're doing.
Any other comments, questions?
What are some of the things that you guys are doing in the community to help develop or create that multi-sport or multi-activity student starting at a younger age? Because it does feel like a lot of students are starting to become more specialized and more focused on one. And so what are you guys doing, and then what do we need to be doing as well to help to reinforce and help create that multi-student, sport or activity student?
Right. So I firmly believe that people do what they're comfortable and what they have knowledge of. So I go back to my own household. Performers and athletics were both of my parents, so that's kind of what we did. Very similar in my house. So I think just continuing from us and from a secondary aspect on creating opportunities for kids to get familiar with other things that maybe their family may not be familiar with, because that's what they're going to continue to do at the high school and middle school levels. So promoting that, whether that is social media or in person, being involved and a part of those, I think will go a great way to continue to not only increase our numbers in participants, but also, I'm trying to think of the proper word, give kids access to things that they're not familiar with. So just continuing to grow programs, find ways for kids to get involved at an early age and be exposed to a lot of things will go a long way for multi-activity and athletic individuals.
And are we working directly with like our Parks and Rec department or anything like that within the city to, again, further build bonds across the district and the city, but also to support the students?
Yeah, so myself, I am the Excelsior Springs liaison for our Parks and Rec board. I'm involved in the recreation committee as far as that goes. So personally, I have not had a lot of exposure to that. I've only been on that committee or that board for a couple months, so I really look forward to working with those guys on seeing how we can be involved as a high school as well as promoting that with our youth.
Okay.
Just a question that I don't know if I interrupted some of the 1,056, is that, I didn't make sure I understand, is that distinct students, or are those like, if
so that involves a lot of multi-sport kids.
Okay.
A lot of multi-sport kids. So if I don't, that's one of the things when I did this, I'm like, okay, I would like to be able to differentiate and explain, hey, if we have 1,056 participants, that's 400 kids. Because we have kids that are 3 and 4 and 5 activities and or athletics. So I hope next time I get the opportunity to do this that I give you a little bit more points and numbers. But we have a lot of kids that do multi-sport things. The unfortunate thing is that the overall number is not great. So if you look at our middle school and high school population, we're about 12 to 1,300 kids. The ratio is decent, but a lot of those are 2 and 3 and 4 kids. So now you're looking at 400 kids total. So now, and one of the things that I'd like to continue to evaluate is how do we continue to get those kids involved, even when they're at the high school level, in hopes to grow and foster that relationship at the youth level so that they can get a better experience in education, not only in the classroom, but on the field, court, stage, band, whatever the case is.
It may not be something we track, but it would be interesting to see where that number what it represents as far as a percentage of our students, and then, the trend, over
Yes.
time, are more or less students becoming involved. It'd just be interesting to look at. And then also along those lines, I think it's a good change that we can now have more kids from our community that are maybe going through a homeschool program or something else participate in our programs. Number one, we kicked off practices yesterday. I'm just wondering, do we have any homeschool students?
Yeah, right now we have 7.
Okay, great.
7, well, across various different sports.
Okay.
So one thing that we're having to adjust to now is that we have a different classification as far as Michigan goes when we register them as athletes and eligibility. So we're still working through that. We're working with Michigan. I just sat on with them in a building last Thursday, and we discussed along with a lot of different athletic directors and kind of how do we address this and yet still do what we intend to do with this bill, which is treat them as just as every other student we have. They're just not going to school with us.
My follow-up, and it's good to hear that there's already, we're a few days in, we already have, half a dozen or so, more participants, which is great. We need as many as we can have. Just if there's any, outreach or communication that we need to do, to the community who, might not be as tuned in to the, happenings of the district, so that they know that these teams are available and they know who to get a hold of if they want to, try out for the basketball.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we need to continue to do a better job of, and that starts with me. But once this thing was coming around back in February, March, we had people starting to reach out to us then. So when we finally, it got signed and put into action, of course it doesn't start until August 28th, just like Senate Bill 68. We need to do a better job of putting that out there, for sure.
And I do think that our homeschool families are very in touch with what their rights are and what they do get to receive from our community. I do think that most of them are really tuned into that as well.
Any other questions or comments? Right, we have first and a second. All those in favor of approval of the co-curricular, extracurricular program evaluation? And that passes 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up is approval of summer school program, Ms. Annalise and Dr. Harris.
So our program evaluation, we concluded summer school at the end of June. We ran 17 days. The high school ran an extra week just due to credit enhancements and times and things. We have to go a little bit longer just in order to meet DESI requirements and timing and for credits and things. We evaluated our program. I'm not going to go through and read, but we feel like we did an excellent job. We scored ourselves and above excellence because we felt like this year we really, in the last 2 years, I feel like Dr. Harris and I have really taken into account, we want kids to attend, we want to make it fun, but we also want to give an opportunity to continue learning, but also for them to get opportunities to enhance and not just look at summer school as it's a remediation or I have to go or it's something. So we've taken into consideration how we can make it fun. So.
And I would add too, at the elementary level, you know, we gave 96 incoming kindergartners the opportunity to get into school and to experience that, which will only help them to be more successful when they return next week. Attendance was great. The goal for the elementary level was we wanted at least 400 students enrolled, and on a given day we would average about 390. So that we were proud of that. So teachers were all hired if they wanted to work this summer. So we were really proud of that. We were able to give everybody a position if they wanted to teach, and we also were able to offer a rotation this year of our specials. So we did PE, music, art, and computer. So that was just a difference in programming that we were able to offer this year.
So in saying that, we've kind of, if you saw, our overall number was about 1,087 students, and that's probably the highest summer school we've ran. And I know it's been the highest in the 8 years I've been in the district. So we felt pretty pleased with that, very successful, because we pride those opportunities for incoming kindergartners, but also incoming sixth graders. We revamped that as well. So, and then when we went into hiring, as Dr. Harris said, we were able to hire, when we started hiring back in February, we hired with the projection of like 360. Like we look at that number and then we think 2 sections per grade level, and then we were able to increase that. So we felt overall that was pretty pleasing, and also able to add several sections at the high school level. At the middle school for our sixth grade, some of the numbers, we had 226 sixth graders. That was one of the highest last year. We ran around anywhere between 150 to 180. The high school had 305 kids, so we did something different kind of to help with our athletics. Coach Danneman and we met with Mr. Baker with all of our coaches prior to summer school to try to organize to keep an opportunity for all sports. And then we had our middle school kids got to go up and do some human performance things and do athletic things and it didn't count against them. So they were able to come to the middle school, we released them, they were able to go. Didn't matter if you were a football player or whatever, we set times and structured it 3 times a day. Kids got to walk up there and they got to participate and kind of see a different way of what it looks like. How do we lift weights? How do we do that? And I will tell you, Coach Price was super impressed with our middle school kids the first day that she was, and how those kids went in there and just kind of got after it. So it was nice. So that was something different, and I think that also helped increase and keep kids coming. Something else we did different, we restructured sixth grade, so we did a whole new scope and sequence with our sixth grade teachers, and Ms. Teagarden did a great job. I have to commend her for kind of just looking at what do incoming sixth graders coming from 8th grade teaching down to sixth grade this past school year, what are some skill sets that they need to come in and thinking elementary wise. So we chunked up and we revamped each week. We incorporated a field trip. We even took some time to teach them about Excelsior Springs. They all got to take a trolley ride and learn about the history of Excelsior. That was the fun thing that they got to do. So budget-wise, we probably spent a little bit more money this year on field trips, but we didn't limit them, so everybody got to participate and do a lot of great things. At the high school, that 305 number, we did some difference. We spend, launch is kind of a different beast. Every year we were able to do credit enhancement, but also credit recovery, but also provide some opportunities for kids to, if they wanted to take a course, some of these things, but how we do ADA with that kind of gets a little tricky. So this year we were able to keep our personal finance and our health in-house, and our instructional coaches and work with Dr. Miller, and they were able to rewrite, and we were able to do it through our own Canvas opportunities. So we were able to hire our own 4 teachers, and they were about 44 in each one of those classes. So those kids were able to. We did have, for ACT, that number was a little bit lower this year. We had 59 students go in, but we only had about 32 students that showed up to take the ACT this year. So there's some things that we will look at next year, and that's just, I think a lot of kids during the school year took the ACT, and then we're incorporating some of those skill sets that they need at the high school during the school day. So we had about 66 students that were able to cover credit. So some of those numbers probably have changed just because we don't get final numbers from launch, and those are still fluctuating. So because it's grade requirements, I even had to work with Mr. Baker about some kids that had mission requirements, and I still didn't have to pay, like when school and practice starts. So it's kind of hard to, because they don't release some of those things until even now that they've been working. So, and entering in and getting their transcripts. So some of those numbers have probably fluctuated since then. Some things that we feel like moving forward next year, we feel like the grading, knowing, kind of getting a handle on between Canvas and Power School, how to incorporate grades at the secondary level. Also some of those remediation kids, that communication piece of it's kind of challenging. 8th graders can come and then they get promoted, but there's not a finalized grade. So kind of working through that and seeing how we can kind of unify, kind of streamline that a little bit better to make sure that they know that they've regained some attendance and behavior or academics and then moving to the high school.
Yeah, we too found that we need to improve communication with families, whether that's with Seesaw or just some emails. Some teachers would send home newsletters and some wouldn't, some would send notes and some wouldn't. So something that definitely needs to be cleaned up. We all need to be doing the same thing and communicating regularly with families so that they know what to expect and so that kids don't miss out on anything fun.
So, but overall we felt summer school was super successful. Kids had a great time. We felt our attendance was good. We like to maintain it. That's the hard piece. We kind of go against some of our there's a lot of church camps that go on and there's a lot of youth camps that go on. So the last 2 weeks really trickle off for us, especially the last week gets really challenging. So kind of looking into that and then just kind of trying to keep them there the whole time versus just like here and there. So it's just, and it's just hard because it's summer and people and families want to plan vacations and go do things and we don't want to limit kids on those either, so.
And we also did the staff survey again, asked them some questions about support and quality and planning and it was very positive. The feedback was great. They did have some comments about field trips, would like to, instead of going to the movie theaters, try to do things more locally, just staying within Excelsior Springs. We went to the bowling alley for the first time and everybody loved that so much. And that would save us cost too. So that's definitely something that we will consider for next year.
Yeah, and also we talked about just like kind of limiting this year. The last couple of years we've not, every class, so some kids had to pick and choose which field trip to go to, and then some kids had to pay for things. So kind of streamlining that a little bit better of like what those costs look like, because that can be kind of challenging and pricey too. But we always try to offer opportunities to pay for kids. We never limited anybody if we had to come up with scholarships. So field trips are always, you know,
something to
look forward to, and then we just don't want to limit anybody. But overall, we felt like it was very successful, and we were very pleased.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve summer school program evaluation.
So
First by Jill.
Second.
Second by Kenny. Questions, comments?
I don't have exact numbers as you see up there budgeting wise, just because that kind of like the total at this time, materials, and like I said, our launch credits are kind of, those are very like hard guesstimates. So but busing we ran was pretty low, staffing was a little bit higher, but hey, we look at it as we can. Overall materials and supplies, that number probably, we had to move some monies around, so if you add that 596 with the 2,400 and the bowling, we kind of put those things together, and then we also provided t-shirts. We bought every 6th grader, they were able to tie-dye and do their summer school t-shirt, and that was kind of pricey too this year, so, but we felt it was kind of necessary, so.
with the ADA of the program, how much do you think it's gonna end up returning for us? Do we know that?
No, Mark and I have, Dr. Bill and I have talked about that. I hoped it will be probably around the same as last year, if not a little bit higher. I don't have a bill from launch, and that's always the fun part. When that comes in, I never know if it's gonna be 60,000 or 30,000. It's, yeah, we hope it's not gonna be that much, but it also just kind of depends on who's dropped and through some of those numbers we don't get till. So I'm hopeful that it will be pretty close to last year, which was, you know, I don't know, a couple $100,000. 4,000, so.
As long as they stay within the allocated budget, it's always a revenue driver for us. The issue that comes down to is it adds ADA. So let's say it's 120 ADA, I think it's about 118, it's almost the same the last 2 or 3 years. That gets added to our total ADA for this year throughout the year. So it depends on the funding per ADA as the school year goes on. So if they fully fund it, then we make more money on the revenue driver. If they don't fully fund it, then it becomes less money. But as long as we stay within the projected budget, it's always going to be a revenue driver for us. And the way ADA is calculated, it adds to our ADA for the year, and we always use a 3-year projection as a school district. And so if our enrollment were to go down next year, but this ADA adds to our total school, this might be the year we use next year or the next 2 years. So it allows you some leeway there, not only on revenues, but also for the school district on how it revenues overall, because it adds to that as a district. So it's not super easy to explain, but as long as they stay within the projected budget for us, it's always a revenue driver and can help us for 2 future years as well, if that's our highest projected budget, if enrollment were to dip. So it helps.
Do you anticipate that it'll be similar? Because when it was presented, you gave a number from last year, and we all celebrated that, but we didn't see any of the expenses at that time, you know, so do we think that it'll?
Yeah, it should be very
balance out
similar,
the
because,
same?
because the ADA, the preliminary ADA looks almost identical to last year, which.
And we had more kids and we spent less, so I'm very tight. The biggest pieces are transportation and staffing. Those are, and then when we buy, we have not bought a lot of materials, but our costs are also field trips. And field trips are kind of also a little wonky because some of them we get reimbursed for, so then we get to add that money back in. So I always just say, as long as we have a lot of numbers, we have kids and we can keep them, and then we keep our budget and keep things really tight, we're gonna look pretty similar than what we did last year, as long as, they fund us. So, and getting rid of some of those launch costs really helps us too. So that was a biggie. However, on the back end, Springfield paid for those teachers, we paid for them in our staffing. So as you see, our staffing costs went up a little bit. However, we had higher numbers. So as you see, then that return comes with the ADA. So it's just kind of, it's a numbers game and we don't ever know. So even like the numbers of enrollment, we still played around with them towards the end because Missy has to go in and clean up a lot of numbers, because if kids don't show up, we have to drop them. And then at the high school level, that human performance piece, even if those kids were there, we counted attendance, but yet I can't give them a credit, so we have to really be careful, because I don't want Dusty to think that I ran some program and just threw everybody in and everybody got to be in weights. Otherwise, every school district would count every kid that comes to summer school band. Why not? Because you have hundreds of kids that are doing summer activities and you get a lot of money. Can't do that. That's not very legal.
Well, I appreciate the transparency on the numbers and just like all the transparency on the whole program as a whole. I think that kudos to you too and the whole team. I think that you guys have done a great job, and I just appreciate what you put together on the presentation when you presented it originally, and then the recap. So good job too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Maybe just adding to that, sorry. I think I probably should have been aware of our summer school program before, but in my mind, it was like more of a remedial thing, and it was really eye-opening, and I was very impressed with what I learned about it this year. 3 of my kids were involved in it. My youngest attended the April board meeting and saw your presentation about what we were going to do, and then said that she would like to.
Yeah, we had a lot of kids this year during 6th grade. They're like, can we count? I'm like, absolutely. And that was a big thing. 6th grade and kindergarten are the 2 areas we tried to hit. Yeah. We did do something a little different. We ran freshman foundations. We tried to kind of do it. It ended on a wonky week, and we only added 3 days, and we only had about 27 kids. So I'm hopeful, even next year with working with Dr. Hartman, we can do the same thing and let it be a full program, and we can get more kids going, transitioning to freshmen, what that looks like. So again, it's all in there that we would like to, all the changes foreshadowing.
It seemed like a great program. Thank you.
All right. We have a first and a second. All those in favor of approval? And that passes 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, next up is the student cell phone use. Dr. Hartman, Dr. Cole.
Well, good evening to the board. Dr. Hartman and I are here to answer any questions about the cell phone policy, SB 68, that was passed by the legislature and approved by the governor. I think Dr. Bullimore did a pretty good job of explaining what that's doing with cell phones in school and not allowing cell phones or other electronic communication devices that are brought from home, like your Apple Watches and things like that. It's not allowed. Those aren't allowed in school. I think one of the big differences it's going to make in the middle school is basically nothing. We've done, this is the exact same policy that we've had all last year. We can answer any questions about process or anything like that the board might have. And then Dr. Hartman.
Yeah, and as Dr. Bullimore said earlier, we collaborated with several school districts across the state, just kind of how they were interpreting the policy, kind of what their process was going to be. It will be a big change at the high school. And we are just going to talk to our staff a lot about it at back to school in August and kind of go through any concerns or conversations needed. We've been communicating with families, and we'll do that a couple more times before school starts as well, if they can support with the policy. We have put up signs in front of classrooms, and kind of our take on it is going to be to put the cell phones away and focus on learning. That's really going to be our take with it. I think after next week in discussions with our teachers, we'll be ready. Mr. Schwab was an artist of our signs in front of the classrooms, just kind of as an extra support to teachers, because I know it is going to be a big change at the high school. I think especially passing periods and lunch times, and during lunch times, the first couple weeks of school, we're planning on just having some extra supervision to support our lunchroom supervisors.
We'll take any questions if you have them.
Have you heard from families yet? What's that look like since you've been sending out your notifications? Are you hearing from parents already, or do you anticipate that to hit come back to school week?
I had a few conversations with parents at enrollment, just kind of asking about the discipline process with it, and our discipline consequences, and that's all exactly the same. That's the only communication I've had with parents at this point.
I've had nothing.
I mean, that's a good sign. Either parents aren't reading anything, or which is a little concerning.
It was very supportive of what's, what's the
or they're
policy
just
going to
gonna
look like,
be
so we can
supportive.
communicate with our child. So.
Great.
I love the positivity. I assure you we'll hear something.
Some positive things, I'm sure.
Our, one thing parents might be concerned about is like, how do I need to even coordinate like logistics things with my kids. Hey, grandpa's gonna pick you up, don't ride the bus home or whatever. Are parents able to like call the office and get a note sent to the students? Might just talk about like
there was a time there was only one phone. I'm not gonna say I lived during that time. I attended school during that time.
We did.
But it was like, they called the office and they brought you a note.
Yes.
They were called office runners.
Yeah.
If you were a good student, I was not. We did that.
And we would love for that to be the
And if you needed to talk to mom and dad, you went to the office and you called mom and dad.
I know I asked that in the form of a question, but I'm a mean dad, and so my middle schoolers don't have cell phones. And so we have called the middle school several times and left notes, and it works. I mean, it's
amazing. So you knew the answer to your own question.
As a parent, how I have prefaced this with my teenager, and so good learning for all of us in an open session, is I send my teenager who's involved in after-school activities or he's walking to the community center to work out, is I send him a message on important things that is when it's convenient for me. So I may send them over lunch when I don't think about it, or so I don't forget, you need to do this is who's picking you up. His responsibility is not checking that to the end of school. If it's something that is a true emergency or something he needs to know during the day, I will contact the school and they can let him know that during the day. If he gets something during the day from a parent and he checks it, he's going to be responsible for the discipline for checking it. If it's an emergency, as a parent, we'll contact the office so they can let him know, and I think that's probably good practice for all of us. I never want to tell anyone how to parent, but that's how we're going to try and handle it in our house, and I assure you that we will have some learning curves along the way as a family as well. But just how we're doing as a family, good communication. I think it's a good partnership between the schools and the parents, and it'll be a learning curve for all of us. And I appreciate your guys' work and what you've done working with other schools and some of the conversations that I'm sure will come. So
it should be an interesting start.
policy.
Thank you.
One sec, sorry. You feel like, being what's going on at the middle school, that it is encouraging to then everyone going forward into the high school level? So like not much has changed. Like, I'm just making sure you feel like that's kind of preparing them for, because they've all went through there, obviously, where you're at.
That is absolutely our goal. Our goal in every aspect is to prepare them for that high school. And I made the mistake my first year of allowing cell phones at lunch. And it trickled into everything. And it was really hard to put that genie back in the bottle. And when we did, we saw our discipline rates went down. I mean, you saw all this stuff up here with PBIS and everything else. That was all part of it. So it's been good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right, next up is approval of a whole litany of things, and it's Mr. Gilkey.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the consideration of the board, I have updates to building handbooks. Specifically, we have some update to the compliance officer in all of those handbooks, as well as the student cell phone policy. There's also an update to the senior parking in the high school handbook. So those three things, again, we wanted to have our secondary administration present to you all on the cell phone policy before the senior parking in the high school handbook. So those three things, again, we wanted to have our secondary administration present to you all on the cell phone policy before looking at handbook approval, but I would recommend the board approve these handbook changes as presented.
All right, we have a first.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Darren. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jill. Questions, comments about any of those handbooks?
No.
All right, hearing none, all those in favor? And that passes 6-0. Thank you, sir. Next up is approval of additional SRO. Mr. Gilkey.
Again, for the consideration of the board, we have the opportunity to add a fourth SRO for the 25-26 school year to be based at Cornerstone, serving both Cornerstone Elementary and the Early Childhood Center. As with our other SROs, this would be in partnership with the Excelsior Springs Police Department. The difference with this position is it would be 100% funded by the public safety sales tax, as opposed to the other SRO positions that are currently funded both by the district and the police department. Of note, that funding is designated for the 25-26 school year only without intention to renew, which would mean that if the district wanted to renew the position for the 26-27 school year, we would have to look at making that into the budget and then working that into the current MOU with the police department that currently has those three positions. So the police department was able to handle this for 25-26 without adding additional staff. And so they're aware also that it may just be for this year. And they were fine moving forward with that as well. So the recommendation again is that we approve that position for this year, knowing that the continuation of that would be based on funding because the current funding method would not continue past the 25-26 school year.
All right, entertain a motion for the approval of additional SRO.
So moved.
First by answer questions. All those answer questions? All those in favor? And that passes 6-0. Next up is the approval of the athletic supervision stipend. Mr. Gilkey.
Thank you. Again, for the consideration of the board, we have a recommendation for the approval of 3 athletic supervision stipends, one each sports season, so one for the fall, one for the winter, and one for the spring sports season. This is in response to last year, we reduced our administrative staff at the high school by 1. And one of the big demands on those individuals is evening duties at athletic activities, supervising those events. And so one of the things that we would like to do is add a paid position for them to hire supervisors. That would be opportunities for our administration, ideally to have some nights, additional nights off. They've worked through that process and we've had communication about what that looks like. Not scheduling some of those individuals maybe for events that we expect to be particularly rowdy and not putting them in those situations, but nights that we feel like are relatively manageable having those opportunities to give our staff that are already working those games evenings off. So that's what this position is. Again, would recommend the board approve these positions and stipends as presented.
All right, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
First by Darren,
Second.
second by Jill. Questions, comments?
The individuals that would receive that stipend or do that work, would they be maybe other staff that are potentially working towards a degree in administration? So they could also count this as like some of their hours towards that completion?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we look at this as a mutually beneficial thing, both for our current admin team, but also individuals looking to take a next step into administration. Gives them some real world experience, and oftentimes, I know for me as a building principal, the most nerve-wracking thing I did was the first time I had to remove a parent from a ballgame. So it's you start to get that practice early. So it's, again, it benefits our current administrative team, but also gives the opportunity for some game experience in that way. So,
bless you.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 5-0-1. All right, next up is to set financial, thank you, Mr. Gilkey. Next up is to set the financial planning work session. Dr. Bullimore.
Yeah, if it pleases the board, we'd like to set the financial planning work session